How is it going? And welcome back. I know it's been a while since I put up a video. It's been about a week or so. After Florida, I've been packing a lot, moving. You can see behind me I got racks and boxes and all sorts of good stuff there. But anyway, I slept funny last night. Today is our weekly wrap-up for sports. I will be covering every big thing over the last week. Usually I'd be breaking this down daily, but there's been a lot of craziness this past week. In the NFL, Ezekiel Elliott, if you all haven't seen the news, he is now suspended after 5 games. So 6 games, he is finally suspended for the next 6. So that is probably the biggest news to come out of this week, at least that isn't in records or anything else. The biggest news is Elliott is now suspended. So for all you fantasy owners out there, if you really want to make a trade for Elliott, do so, because those last 4 games he is going to play. He is going to play very, very well, as he has played all 6 games this season. He has been fantastic. Or 5 games. They had a bye this week. So, anyway, we will first break down a bunch of the scores this week. We will talk MLB playoffs. My New York Yankees went above and beyond beating the Cleveland Indians. Completely threw my AL pick out the window, as the Indians were my pick to win the AL this year, to win the AL pennant and make the World Series, but completely threw that out the window. Now it's probably going to be the Houston Astros, who if you see my video I made about a month ago, I said it'd be Dodgers-Astros. So if I want to go with my original predictions that I made at the beginning of September, I would have been right most likely. So there is that. I am a bit of a guru when it comes to sports. Anyway, so we'll quickly go through the scores for this week. It was a crazy week in the NFL. There were a bunch of upsets, some nail-biters, especially with my New York Jets. We'll break down with the Thursday night game. The Eagles are behind Carson Wentz, are having an amazing season. They're now 5-1. They're 5-1, man. And they beat the Panthers 28-23. It was beautiful. The Patriots beat my New York Jets 24-17. The Jets were up 14-0 in the second quarter. And I had to leave after that. I had an event to go to, so I didn't see any of the game after that. But then on my phone I saw it. Tom Brady came back, racked up a quick 14 points for the Patriots, and then they just dominated in the second half, outscoring them 10-3. It was really disappointing. I thought the Jets might be able to pull out a win, but hey, they're 3-3, so it's a lot better than I thought they'd be after 5 games. I thought they'd be 1-5. So, come on. All right, the Dolphins beat the Falcons, who were one of my predictions to go 5-0, yet they didn't. They lost 20-17. The Vikings had a big win against the Packers, tying them up in the division. They won 23-10. They are both now 4-2, so both teams are looking very good. And Chase Keenum is really having a breakout couple of weeks. His stats aren't all that impressive. Like this week, he only threw for 240 yards and a touchdown. That's not that impressive. It's average. It's completely average. But he's winning. He is winning. But also the Packers lost Rodgers, so that was part of it as well. It was like 14-10 at halftime, and then the Packers lost Rodgers, so it was a low-scoring affair after that. But yeah, we'll see how the Packers fare. They are my Super Bowl pick, so Rodgers, you better get back soon, man. I can't have you blowing up my NFC predictions. It just can't happen. I can't have that happen. I am the guru. The guru does not get wrong in anything. That's completely not true. Anyway, here we go. Redskins beat the 49ers 26-24. The Niners are still winless. Kirk Cousins once again had an amazing game. He is really breaking out this year. I mean, I know you could say last year or the year before was his breakout year, but this year I think is his real breakout season. The Saints beat the Lions 52-38. It was an absolute shootout. I watched the end of the game. It was really fun. But it was a consistent score fest. There was really no defense at all in the game, but that's just the way it went. All right. Big upset, at least in my eyes. The Bears edged the Ravens in overtime. So that was a big upset. They won 27-24. Flacco threw 2 picks. He didn't have a touchdown, so that was, I guess, part of it. But And Howard ran for 170 yards, so he's having a good season for the Bears. And the Bears are 2-4. The Ravens are 3-3. So that is going to be it there. The Texans once again won. They beat the Browns. And Deshaun Watson is deceptively having an amazing season so far. He is now thrown 15 touchdowns. Yeah, I want to say he's played in 5 games. He's thrown 2, 4, 6, 14, 15 touchdowns in 5 games. He's been fantastic. So, and he threw no interceptions. So he's having a great season. He is really leading the Texans to great things. The Texans have found their quarterback of the future in Deshaun Watson, at least so far. He could be like an RG3, where he was a bust after his rookie year. We don't know yet. But so far in his rookie season, Deshaun Watson is living up to the expectations. Cardinals beat the Bucks. Cardinals 3-3. Bucks 2-3. Not much going on there. It was a tight, high-scoring game. But Adrian Peterson, who was traded to the Cardinals, that was big news if you guys didn't see it. He seems to have found a new home in Arizona. Breakout. He had the best game I've seen him play in at least a year or two. 134 yards and 2 TDs. That's the best game I've seen him play in a long time. So, the Chiefs finally lost the game. Finally lost. So, the Steelers beat them 19-13. Chiefs 5-1. Steelers 4-2. Derek Carr, though, is still not back for the Raiders, and they have fallen to 2-4. So, I do not have my hopes for that have kind of gone down the drain. If anything, the Raiders and the Chiefs are basically swapping positions here. The way it's probably going to look now in the standings, once the season ends, the Chiefs will have that number 1 or 2 spot, and the Raiders will be that wild card instead of the Chiefs. So I think that's how it'll probably play out, is once Derek Carr comes back, the Raiders will get into the swing of things. So, and then last night's Sunday night game, the Giants finally got a win for all you Giants fans out there. Grandpa Mel, Uncle David, finally got a win over the Broncos, 23-10. It wasn't that impressive of a game from either side, so that's pretty much it there. Fantasy, I am rocking. I am 6-0, or I will be 6-0 coming up this week. 5-1. Sorry, I lost week 2. I absolutely dominated my fantasy football league, so that is awesome. My fantasy hockey leagues, I am doing well, and fantasy basketball, which the NBA kicks off tomorrow. The NBA, that is our next topic here. NBA season debuts tomorrow, Tuesday, October 17th. The season was moved up to give the players less back-to-backs with the whole rest issue. And I am on the side of this issue that players, if you're gonna rest your players, rest them at home. Don't be an asshole and rest them on the road where fans pay to see them possibly even one time a year. One time a year for maybe 2/3 of the NBA teams. Away fans will only see them once, unless it's the playoffs. So, and you rest that guy, they pay good money to see him play. Don't rest him on the road. You rest him at home, where your fans get to see him 40 times a year. That's where you rest your players. So, yeah. And Charles Barkley had a huge fit with this a couple weeks ago. He went on a rant about how NBA players fly first class in private planes and how he played 4 games in 5 days and flew commercial. So, now the NBA players are getting soft. So, I almost agree with him. I do agree with Charles Barkley in this case. I don't think you're a professional athlete. If you can't play a back-to-back game and not rest, you shouldn't be in the NBA. You can't play a back-to-back game if you're healthy. If you are not injured for any reason, like let's say you're coming off an injury and you're playing 1 out of the 2 games, that's one thing. That is not an issue in my mind. You're coming off an injury, you play 1 of the 2 games to get back in the swing of things, whatever. But if you are healthy, you should be playing. You are an NBA player. You are training all year round to be fit enough to play 82 games. play all the games. I mean, if you're old, I don't give a shit if you're old. You're a professional basketball player. If you're going to rest, you rest at home. If you're not going to rest, play the fucking game. Alright. That's enough of my rant, guys. Sorry, I just wanted to get that out there. Because I am just incensed with the NBA about this. I am very unhappy with it. Though I do like the season starting sooner. I mean, of course, it's sooner, more NBA for us sooner, but lo and behold. Alright, so the two games tomorrow are the Celtics and the Cavs, and the Rockets and the Warriors. So these are going to be two great games. I'm going to be glued to my TV watching both of these and the Yankee game tomorrow. Or today, I don't know. But I'm going to be watching them. It's going to be great. My Thunder, I believe, play Wednesday for the first time. I have to double check who they're playing against. But my Thunder are going to be good with Anthony and George and Westbrook and Adams. We have a real gaping hole at shooting guard. Our starting shooting guard is Andre Roberson. We have a gaping hole here. Massive hole. So that is most likely what the Thunder need to fill. But anyway, yeah, that's going to be that. The NBA, I did my predictions a couple weeks ago. I had the Warriors winning, so that, yeah, it's not too much of a surprise. But the Warriors, I do believe, will be winning the title this year. Anyway, I want to jump quickly to the NHL, where a lot of the teams I predicted are having great seasons so far. In the Eastern Conference, I predicted Toronto. I believe I predicted Boston, who has been having a bit of a slow start. And I also predicted Tampa Bay. Toronto and Tampa Bay right now are on top. They're both 4-1. They've been playing fantastic. In the Metropolitan Conference, I had predicted Pittsburgh, Washington, and I believe Columbus was my other team for the top three. And they are sitting right now 2, 3, 4 in the standings. But my New Jersey Devils are first. They are first. And they have been outstanding. They are 4-1 in 5 games. Their team has been playing good. They got a couple of rookies this year, or young guys who they called up, and who are playing absolutely fantastic. Will Butcher, who in 5 games, he's a young defenseman. He's 22. He was drafted when he was, I believe, 17 in like the 5th round, and he's been playing down in the AHL, I believe, ever since. But the Devils had traded for him in the summer and called him up. In 5 games, he is leading the Devils as a defenseman. He has 8 assists in 5 games. I have him on my fantasy team. I picked him up after the first 2 games he played. He has been absolutely fantastic. And the other guy we are watching here is Nico Hischier. Hischier. I can't pronounce his name right for the life of me. But he is our top draft pick. And in 5 games, he has 2 points. He has not yet scored a goal, unfortunately. But he does have 2 assists. He's been playing a lot. So it's good to see him on the ice. But Will Butcher has been the great surprise, and so is Jasper Britt, to be honest. I don't know who he is. Yeah, he's 19. He was a draft pick from last year's draft, 2016, in the 6th round by the Devils, and they just called him up from the AHL, and he has 6 points in 5 games. So he has been another great guy for the Devils. So I am really happy. They have started to finally rebuild a young core. So that is going to be their future first line, probably in about 4 or 5 years. Hischier, Britt, and Butcher will all be on that first line. So I'm looking forward to that. But the Devils are playing great so far. Now I want to jump into the MLB a little bit, guys. I will go into the NHL stats real quick. I do want to see kind of I know Ovechkin has a shitload of goals already, but I know Washington has been lighting it up. That first line for the Capitals has been absolutely astounding. It's Backstrom, Evgeny Kuznetsov, and Alexander Ovechkin. Now, these 3, this is one line. They are leading the point race so far through the first 5 or 6 games of the season. Backstrom has 11, Evgeny has 11, and Ovechkin has 10, and Ovechkin has 9 goals. So they have been absolutely on fire. This team, it's been nuts. And Corey Crawford has done great for me. Corey Crawford's done great for me as well. Anyway, we'll now jump to the playoffs for the MLB. It's been a crazy ride so far. I will freely admit it has been a crazy ride for the playoffs. The divisional series was nuts, but the Astros have won 2 straight games over the Yankees now, 2-1. Aaron Judge has been struggling in the playoffs, which isn't really a surprise. A lot of rookies do struggle in the playoffs, despite their hot bats at times and despite his home run that he hit in the wild card game. He has been struggling, but they picked him up enough. Though, so I'm not surprised that Judge is struggling. So I'm not surprised. But Verlander was dominant in that game, and so was Keuchel. I mean, in Game 1, it was crazy. And the Dodgers, who I predicted to be moving on, they are up 2-0. They won 4-1 and they won 5-2, both games at home. So it's probably going to be Dodgers Astros, which is what I predicted back at the beginning of September. So predictions king right here. So that looks pretty good. I was absolutely correct. And Dodgers Astros, that's going to be a hell of a series to watch. I'm happy that the Yankees made it to the ALCS. I would love to see them come back and win, but it's probably not going to happen. I know they did it against the Indians. They came back and won 3 straight games. But they're not going to do it against the Astros. I don't think they can. The Astros are just too hot right now. If they do it, I think the Yankees could push it to 6, maybe. But they're not going to be able to beat Keuchel or Verlander a second time. One of them will pick up another win. So that is probably what's going to end up that way. So it will probably be Dodgers-Astros, which is what I said it would be about a month ago. I know I've said that 3 times, but I love when I'm right. I love when I'm right. So that is going to be it for today, guys. Oh, yeah, of course, we could go over, you know what, we're going to go over the NCAA and all the good stuff that happened in this weekend's NCAA football. I know it's a bit of a longer video, guys, but I haven't posted sports in a week, so I'm just kind of getting it all out of my system. There were a bunch of huge upsets this week. Absolutely huge. Clemson, number 2, lost to Syracuse. They lost to Syracuse. They're going way down in the rankings. Washington State got and it was a close game, so they won't drop too much, but they'll probably drop at least 10, 12 spots. Washington State got absolutely thumped. They were having an amazing season, and Washington State was fixing to be the game that could decide which one of those teams possibly made it to the college playoff. So that probably won't happen anymore. They lost Cal 37-3. They'll probably fall back into the mid-teens at least, maybe even a little farther. So they won't be able to work their way back up. Their only shot is Washington, but I think they lost too late in the season for it. So I don't know how that's going to happen. Alabama won. Georgia won. So Georgia has been a real surprise. I didn't think they would be this good, but they are looking like a playoff team right now. And Washington also lost. So that was the other big upset this week. Washington went down. So did Washington State and Clemson. 3 top 10 teams lost to 3 unranked teams. It wasn't even ranked matchups. They lost to unranked teams. So teams like TCU, Wisconsin, Ohio State, who was one of my predictions. Auburn also lost, number 10. So I have USC, who's probably going to jump up 4 spots now, all things considering. They'll be back into the top 10 into the mix. So I want to look at the rankings now, if they've been adjusted, and they have. All right, so my teams look pretty good. Wow. Clemson didn't fall back that far. Holy shit. All right, Auburn fell back to 21st, which after their loss to LSU is understandable. The big moves this week, Auburn fell down 11. That was the biggest loss on any of the teams this week. Washington State fell down 7 after their loss. NC State won, and they moved up 4 spots. Michigan State went down 2. or Michigan went down 2. Michigan State went up 3. So there isn't too much moving at the bottom, but NC State has had a really good season, amazingly. Notre Dame is back in the mix. They're up in 13th. Washington fell down 7 as well to 12. USC moved up 2 from 13, but they were jumped by Oklahoma State. They were jumped by Oklahoma State somehow. But they're 11th. Oklahoma, the top 10, you got Oklahoma State and Oklahoma sitting 10 and 9. Miami moved up to 8th with that win they had. They scraped it out. Clemson only fell 5 spots somehow. I thought that maybe they'd fall below Oklahoma, below Oklahoma State, and below USC with that loss, but they have only fallen to 7th. So Ohio State, though, my team moved up back to 6th place. They're in the hunt again. But right now, the top 4 stands is Alabama, Penn State, Georgia, and TCU. Now, I don't think TCU is going to hang on because I believe they play Oklahoma or Oklahoma State at least a couple times. Yeah, they got Iowa State. They have Oklahoma, who I don't think they might. I don't know if they'll win or not. But they also have Texas and Texas Tech and Baylor. So that is going to be really tough for them. I think they might lose one of those games. I really hope Oklahoma wins because if they do, then Ohio State would probably jump TCU. But here's the thing. Ohio State plays Penn State. They've got Michigan State still, and they've got Michigan. If they lose to Penn State, there's no way they're making the playoff. But if they win against Penn State is going to drop. They'll probably drop to around 7 or 8, falling back a little bit, and teams will jump them. But I don't know what's going to happen at this point. I've got my 4 teams are sitting in the top 11, so it's been pretty good. We'll see what happens. There's a bunch of big games coming up in the second half of the season that are really looking to shake things up. I believe Clemson still plays Miami, I believe. Wisconsin has some big games. Ohio State, of course, has some big games. Oklahoma plays Oklahoma State. USC, I believe, has a couple big games coming up. Alabama is just steamrolling. Penn State, if Penn State beats Ohio State next week, I take that back. They've got Michigan next, then Ohio State. Wow, if Penn State can get through this set of 3 games with only 1 loss, I think they'll probably still be in the playoff. Because they've got 3 ranked games against the other 3 Big Ten ranked opponents. So, Michigan 19, Ohio State 6, and Michigan State 18. So if they can get through this gauntlet, Penn State, with 1 loss, then they could be fine. So we'll see how it happens. I don't know, because they finished the season Rutgers, Nebraska, Maryland, so they should win those games. But anyway, it's been crazy, absolutely nuts, the college football shakeup. Now it's been it's gonna be a crazy race. All right. The last thing I want to touch on today, guys, is NASCAR and a little bit of the NHRA. So there has been a lot of playoff. Talladega had a huge crash. So the playoffs for the NASCAR races are going pretty well so far. They have, I believe, only a couple races left. But I am curious about where the standings lie right now. Because there are only... Yeah, there's still 12 guys left in the race. So, but Jamie McMurray, Ricky Stenhouse, Joey Logano, and Kyle Busch right now are staring down an elimination after next week's race, which I believe will be the 6th race in the circuit. So, with, I believe, 5 races to go, you have 12 guys left fighting. Right now it looks like Martin Truex, Brad Keselowski, and Kyle Larson, and Kevin Harvick, and these guys up in the 80s. These top 6 have kind of locked it up if they don't crash out. So, it looks pretty good, and then I do want to touch a bit on the NHRA, just because I'm a huge fan of the NHRA and the drag racing. I love watching it, but I do want to look at the standings just real quick. There are only 2 events left. 2. There are 2 events left. And right now, I'll go quickly through the 4 pro circuits and tell you who's still really in contention. and we'll break it down after that. Right now, the contest Steve Torrence has absolutely lit up the playoffs. He is up 57 on Brittany Force and Doug Coletta and Antron Brown. I know you guys don't know a lot of these names, Leah Pritchett, but if you guys haven't watched drag racing, watch it. It is so much fun to watch. But going to an event is so much better. It is absolutely insane seeing those cars move and all the crazy things they do. It's nuts. So, yeah, we'll do that. I'm going to open this door, shed a little light in here. Yeah, that's a little bit better. I see myself a touch better. Yeah. Anyway, so that is looking pretty good. I do want to see... Okay. Yeah. All right. Anyway, that is going to be it for today, guys. We have covered a lot. We have gone around the sports world. We covered some big breaking news, some injury news, the big suspension from Ezekiel Elliott. We went through the playoffs in the MLB. We touched on the NBA that starts tomorrow and the NHL. And it was crazy, and we had a great day in sports today. I opened up my FIFA points the other day, my rewards for squad battles last weekend. Didn't get anything much, unfortunately. Hopefully I'll do better this week, and that will be much better. So I will see you guys next time. And I have finally come up with my new name for this channel that will be changing once the 90 days on Google lets me go change the account name. It is Richard the Guru, or RTG, Road to Glory, whatever, but is me, the Guru. So, and of course I am a sports guru. I am a sports guru. So there we go. That is going to be the new name of this channel coming up within the next couple of weeks whenever Google finally lets me change the name. So that is also my Twitter. So go follow me on Twitter and friend me on Facebook. And I will see you guys next time. I hope you enjoyed today's sports wrap-up from this past week and the lookout for this coming up week. See you guys next time. Richard the Guru, signing off.